The stronghold of trust. Psalms 31. All relationships are built on trust. We trust our spouse, our friends, our co-workers, and our family members. If we do not trust them, our relationship withers and dies, choked by suspicion, jealousy, and fear. I see that happening among my family on Discord. We are supposed to be a family with no discord among us. We're on Discord displaying discord among our family. And the father's children, the obedience, will not show discord among each other. They all got along. They all know the truth. They all know Father is the truth. That's all that matters. We're not here to boast in our name. We're not here to tell people they're wrong. We're not here to do any of that. We're supposed to be a light. We're supposed to cheer them on. Keep them like a lighthouse, giving them hope and faith when they got none. We cheer them on. We keep cheering them. We're hollering like you at a football game and your dad shows up. And he's just chanting with all his friends. You know, that's what we're doing for the people in the darkness, because we're staying in the light, because we're butterflies. And we got some mobs over there that come to the light, but they go back into the darkness. And come back to the light, and come back to the darkness. And we're trying to inspire them. Hey, change your ways. Be a butterfly. Come be a butterfly. Come fly in the light and not live in fear of shadows. As I walk through the shadows of the valley of the shadows of death. As I walk through the valley of the shadows of death. You know? Alright, the folly of the false foundation. Some people place their trust in money. I have many of those people. Paul wrote, commanded those who are rich in this present age not to be haughty, nor to trust in uncertain riches, but in the living Father, who gives us richly all things to enjoy. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17. Why are riches uncertain? Because billionaires are one stock market crash away from being broke. Money can buy a bed of gold, but only Father can give us rest. Money can buy the best physician, but only Father can give us health. Some people place their trust in education. Education without Father only produces intellectual barbarians. Hitler Nazis were well educated, as yet they threw Jewish children alive into blazing ovens of, it's German, I cannot pronounce it, Auschwitz. They had obedient scholar degrees, but they were educated heathens with hearts of stone. Public schools in America have thrown the Bible out the back door and brought condoms in the front. I like that. Isn't that the truth? They're making adultery, porneia accepted in this world. Our children are looking at it on their cell phones. Their friends are posting it on their Facebooks, sending them in text messages. I mean, it's amazing what parents don't understand with these cell phones. You can hide certain apps. You could put apps under certain disguises where it looks like just a harmless game, but it's a folder with nothing but porn in it. It's amazing. They depend on their phones more than their parents. The only time they depend on their parents is their parents have the money to pay their cell phone bills. Once you pay their cell phone bill, they're like, oh, yep, thanks, Mom. Back in their room, back outside, taking self-righteous photos of themselves. And look at me, look at me. It's the me generation. The selfie. Back in the day when you said go do a selfie, that was a sexual term to go fix yourself. And what does it say here? That we replaced, threw the Bible out the back door and brought in condoms in the front. Without much imagination, we can see where public schools are heading. Without Father, they will produce human beings with little moral fortitude, Fortitude. We had a dear friend betrayed him. He is the healer of broken hearts, broken dreams, broken lives. Trust him. He never fails. Trust must be complete, or it is not trust. A farmer went to the country fair and saw a sign that reads, airplane rides for $50. He told the pilot the price was too high. The pilot said, I'll make you a deal. If you trust me enough to ride without screaming, the ride is free. If you scream, you pay double. The farmer agreed to the deal. The pilot took off and took the plane through a series of aerobatic maneuvers. After the plane landed, the pilot said to the farmer, I'm amazed you did not scream once. The farmer replied, I almost screamed on that barrel roll when my wife fell out. Father asked but one thing of the man, that the man should trust him. He does not ask that man understand him for explaining him or vindicating him. Just that man trust him. I love the song that simply says, to trust and obey, for there is no other way to be happy in Jesus than to trust and obey. The destruction result of unbelief. The opposite of trust is unbelief. What does Father think of people who will not trust in him? But the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexual immorals, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Revelations chapter 21, verse 8. Unbelief releases fear, doubt, and suspicions. Unbelief binds the hands of Father and releases the demons of hell. The woman who doubted her husband, loved and loyalty, does not sing for joy. Her face is haggard, her heart is broken, her eyes are flooded with tears. That's emotional person filled with self-doubt is not a picture of joy. He is withdrawn, fearful of other people, anger and seething with resentment. That's emotional. The knowledge of Father builds trust. Trust is not emotional. It is based on knowledge. We know that Father is faithful, and trust is born with faithfulness. Faithfulness brings fruitfulness, brings Christlikeness. When David was facing great trials, he remembered the faithfulness of Father in times past. Verse 15. When the lions roared against David's sheep, Father came. With the bear appeared, Father came through. When Goliath mocked Israel, Father gave David victory. When Saul tried to murder him, Father saved him. So when Absalom, Absalom, was trying to destroy him, David knew that Father is faithful and would come through again. The faithful love of Father. A pesky old dog lived next door to Charles H. Spurgeon. The dog always got into his flower bed. One day, Spurgeon saw the dog in his flowers, and he threw a stick at him to scare him away. But the silly dog retrieved the stick and with his tail wagging, brought the stick back to Spurgeon. The dog was in complete surrender. Spurgeon said, "What could I do but love the rascal?" When we surrender to Father, putting our trust in Him, He will love us back too. No matter what our crisis, what our crime, what our sin, or what our heartache, if we put our trust in Him, the heart of Father will melt. Our relationship with Father is based on trust. Trust is faith. To have true faith is to have trust. We are saved by trusting in Jesus. We are healed by trusting in His Word. We are delivered by trusting in His power of His name. And if you know, you will have the Christ Spirit in you. So we can also read that as, we are saved by trusting in ourselves. We are healed by trusting in His Word. We are delivered by trusting in the power of His name. If we are Christ, then we should trust in the power of His name. We are forgiven by trusting in the power of His blood. We have hope for the future because we trust. Trust is faith. And what did it say? We have hope for the future because we trust. He is all-powerful and sovereign. We were all facing a crisis. We needed to remember how many times Father has come through for us. Father is faithful. He paid our sin debt at the Calvary. He conquered death in the grave. And he is coming again with the power and great glory. Why? Because we all have faith and hope in the Father. It's tattooed on my skin. Let the pen bleed, for the ink will stain the paper. The ink bleeded upon my skin and stained in me with the faith and hope. And that is my calling. Faith and hope. My name is Joshua Berry. We all know Joshua means Yeshua, Yeshua, and it means Lord of salvation. Man is flesh. Father is spirit. The bridge that goes between the fruitful trees, the Spirit, And the flesh, Joshua, means Lord of salvation. It was Christ's salvation on that cross, sacrificed his life to give the people Father's teachings, their Father too, teachings. I sacrificed my life to help people, to become a bridge like Christ was, salvation. People are staring off the cliff, this dark cliff, thinking this is the end, and here comes Josh. Hey, I could take you to a bridge that can cross this. You want to get on the other side? It's full of light, warmth. There's beautiful fruits. There's water, clear water, no toxic water. The grass is green. Alright? You got that as Lord of salvation. That was the bridge between Father and man. And then you got berry. And if you look up berry, berry is an olive, or it is a fruitful, it is a fruit that is harvested and carried on fruitful bushes. And Curtis is a witness. I'm part of the Asher tribe. It's pretty interesting. But, yeah. Some people won't get to know Father because they cannot forgive their own dad. They cannot forgive their parents for what they did. So the only one that's keeping them from Father is themselves. The only people that can keep you from Father's love and Father's abundance of grace is yourself. You. So as long as you keep your eyes, you stepped out of the world, you stepped out of the boat, and all you wanted to do was look into His eyes. His eyes. Because His eyes, His presence will fill our cups, overflow them with oils. The oil is what we need. You need oil to make ink. Oil flows like a river, like water. You know? Ink, water. The words and stuff, we're sitting here like llamas and eating it. Take this little chapter, and one shall say, heap it up, prepare the way, take the stumbling blocks out of the way of my people. And you just eat that, and then you just get all the nutrients and you swallow it. And then later on today, you burp it back up and you eat it again. And you might get a different understanding. I could read this Bible 7 times in one day, and I could read that chapter and get 7 to 8 to 10 different meanings out of it. This is like the ultimate comic book. If you're a comic nerd, you like suspense, action, darkness, demons, giants, all those, fairies, mermaids, boom. You like comic books? Then read the Bible like it's a comic book. You know? It might help some people. People stare at it very shallow. They see it like this ground right here. You see this ground right here? This is all people see in the Bible. They're like, there's nothing really there. But if I dug into this ground and I kept digging, I would find some very unique stuff in the ground. So stop being shallow and just open the book. It's just a book, no different than Alice in Wonderland. This is no different than Alice in Wonderland. We're in this book trying to find out who we are and what our purpose. What does Bible mean? Basic, B. Instructions, I. Basic instructions before leaving earth. Holy. What is holy? Light. Light is holy. How do you want to be a light? How do you keep your light charged? You keep the fire of the Father in you. You keep the fire in you, man, because it'll just make you shine. And people are like, whoa, whoa, you know what I mean? I like the whoas. But anyways, getting on a rant and a tantrum, some would say. I have held my peace from of old. Wow. Bury that bitter man, and it's time to make that new man, that new woman rise. That bitter man, that bitter woman is full of misery. It's going to kill you. Give up that flesh. Bury it in that casket. When you bury something in the casket, when you buried a family member or a friend, did you go back to him and dig up that grave just to say, hey man, I need to ask you a question? What was it? No, you don't. We kept moving forward after, like my dad died. All his teachings are here. But I'm not going back to his grave and digging it up and just trying to understand certain things and asking him questions. No, he's buried. He's dead. The flesh is dead. His spirit is walking. Now we are doing that. Because I believe it says it in Luke. If I can find it. Luke 9:70. Here it is. Let me see. 9 verse 70. I believe it was. Let me see. I think it's 9:20. Where it says, let's see. 9:20. No, it wasn't 9:20, but 9:20 says, he said to them, but who do you say that I am? Peter answered and said, the Christ of God. Or is it 20 verse 9? I don't know. There's one in Luke that's like, it says, let the dead worry about burying the dead. Let the dead bury about dead. Worry about the dead. Was it 29? Then he began to tell the people this parable. A certain man planted in a vineyard, leased it to a vine dresser, and went into a far country for a long time. Wow. I don't know. I gotta look it up. But I know it's in Luke, and it says, let the dead worry about and bury the dead. But you guys have a great evening. Keep your fires burning. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We ain't gonna let the devil put it out. Oh, no, 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 no. Father protects us under his wing. Christ was buried this way. Peter was buried upside down. But if we took that upside down cross and put it at the base, Peter was dying, representing the shadow. We are supposed to play the background, the shadow. We are the shadow of Christ, like Peter Pan flying around and he's sowing the shadow. Yeah, that's Father sowing us to his foot. He is having this experience with us. You're not alone. But anyways, peace, love, shamale, I don't know. Peace, that's all I want. I'm just trying to make people relax.